Okay, so since we've never met before,
Yeah.
I'm Jasmine, and you're
I'm D and I go by they, them pronouns.
okay, great. I really appreciate you reaching out to have
No,
a
I
discussion with me.
appreciate that you have this platform. I think we need more representation, especially like for Asians. A lot to lose by, coming out or
Right.
being anything other than, what we're socially expected to perform, especially as a very collectivist culture. At least
Hmm.
because I'm Chinese, and then especially in Chinese culture, you have to respect your elders, and then your
Mm,
family, you are your family, whether you like it or not. So, especially if you have an extended family like my family, um, my mom is like the youngest of like six children.
okay.
So it's like it's like a whole huge thing that you can't like separate yourself from the relatives. So it's like, okay, you are your family, and then you everything is, very you have to spend holidays with family, and then you like everybody knows about everybody's like business. So you're like, okay, how do I hide this? Like I have to hide it so well that it's like hidden for my from myself, right? Like I'm
Wow.
surprised. I
Okay.
don't even know that I was queer because I just thought I was just the black sheep, and because I'm American, I'm
Mm,
like individualistic. I just chalk it up as like, oh, I'm just trying to be individualistic and do my thing, and then not be like so codependent and like my identity be so like latched on to my family. And so
okay, wait. I hear what you're saying so much and resonate. I'm sure many people do, again, like you said, with being specifically queer and Asian. But since, I mean, I don't really know much of your background. I don't know if was there something in particular you wanted to like focus or talk about today?
more about like my story, and then also like the unique, I guess, intersection. Like I'm also neurodivergent. So like neurodivergent, queer, Asian, trans, non-binary. So like I'm all the minorities almost. So
Okay,
like
okay.
on top of being queer and Asian, I'm like trans. So that's like another layer of like,
Yes.
and then neurodivergent, which is like, just stack all the minorities on top. Besides, like, I mean, being neurodivergent is like I'm a high functioning one, so it's like
Mm,
also, but like,
mm.
there's all that, and then mental illness in general. So I think there's like a big intersection with that, but like the unique blend that I am even. So in my some of my videos, I'm like I feel too queer in my queer community, too Asian in my Asian community, and then just everything in between. Like I feel like I'm even
Really?
within the queer Asian community, I don't feel a lot of there's a lot of neurodivergent people where I haven't met them, or they're just highly masking and they don't know it themselves. So like I feel like I can't connect with people who are queer, Asian, and divergent like me, or at least they're out and aware that they are, is
I
what
hear
I
you. No, I glanced at your page and see that you focus on like mental health advocacy, which I think is beautiful and wonderful. But like you said, it's kind of the dilemma of the audience maybe you're trying to reach. How do people know they're part of the audience when, it's undiscovered themselves? I'm curious of when did you have a feeling or know that you were queer or like kind of, the unfolding of you mentioned being really good at masking, especially in Asian family dynamics, parts of ourselves, right? Where we hide so deeply that we even hide who we are from ourselves, right? That we have to discover. So is that still something you navigate today? Are you out to, your family? What is that like for you?
so I'm like mostly out to my family. It took a while because I like used like a subtle way of like introducing it to them because it's just it's like a touchy subject, so I have to like slowly do it. But like overall, I'm gonna start from like where I decided or felt like I was queer. So like many people during COVID lockdown, I'd be scrolling TikTok, and then that's where like the journey of self-reflection again. I mean, throughout my whole life, it's like that. But then it's just like, how the FYP brings you like, okay,
Yes.
like queer content, you're like, okay, and then I start second guessing, like, am I queer? Like, do I like so? But then I like find the content be resonating with me and
I also navigated my identity in the pandemic specifically. So that's when it was new to me too. So go on. I love to hear this. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so like you, and then like probably many other people who are bored, and we're all on like So we're just like, why not? We have lots of time. We can't go
Mm,
out much. So I was
mm.
like, more self-exploration, why not? Because I've already been doing it a lot of my life, but like not this part or like very deeply buried. Like I didn't know that I was like that part of me. Like there still felt like
Yes.
something was different, even though I
Yes.
knew I was different.
Mm,
But
hmm.
I didn't have words for it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like that like makes sense. And then the more I scrolled and the more like it was harder to find like queer Asian representation. So that's also when I noticed like when it was queer stuff, it was always like white. Am I
Mm,
bisexual? Am I lesbian? And then the
mm.
whole gender thing. So then like cracking my egg like took another like 2 years afterwards. I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah, it's a journey. Wait, so the pandemic was the first time you consciously actively thought about it. Like before you kind of just you just
yeah, chalk it
felt
up with
something,
just
but
like I'm just the alien, black sheep, like whatever. Like I just attributed it to just being other, just in general. So
okay,
not
got it.
anything like specific. Like I didn't like be like name it because specifically A, B, and C,
Right, right.
something
Okay.
like that. I just thought it's just because I blend Chinese and American ideologies in a specific unique way. Like I still want to keep my roots, but then I'm still not like super whitewashed. Like I want to be, like this middle ground. And then I didn't feel like I connected with other, Asian Americans.
Like not really the in between and gray.
Yeah.
Did you
So
grow up here or
yeah, I'm a ABC, so I'm second
oh,
generation, and then
okay.
yeah, so a lot of my friends are also second gen, but like I never felt like I belong with them. I never really related to them. So I guess the
Hmm.
extra piece was I'm queer and then I'm neurodivergent and I'm also trans. So that was the part that was different because all of them were still like straight but Asian Americans. So
I
like
see, I see.
just felt like there's still something off. I'm like, what's off? But
If
I
you're
just would
willing,
like repress it so much that I'm like just like whatever.
yeah.
I'm just other and then just deal with it later.
Okay, if you're willing to share what about, and I know you're just touching upon it, but like um navigating and discovering like your identity in being trans and also with the neurodivergency, is this something you discovered in pieces like they were spaced apart or did it kind of all come together at once or
They're all kind of like spaced apart. So like in the timeline, it's first like okay, just so I discovered I'm queer, and then I discovered I'm trans, and then the last part was just most recently within this like past year or so, through actually a therapist to say, oh, maybe you could be like neurodivergent or like ADHD or whatever. I'm like, I never thought about that but then once I like reminisced and then like
mm,
backtracked. I'm like, oh yeah, there was a lot of signs. Like I would leave my stuff everywhere. I would forget my stuff. I would lose stuff all the time. I'm like, that's clearly an ADHD thing. And I just
I
was
see.
just like, oh yeah, I'm just a whimsical, fairy. That's weird. Like I'm just other. So I just, like I said, all my explanations for myself is like, oh, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's just because I'm different and weird. And then that's it. Like I wouldn't explore it further because I didn't think it was safe to do that or
Mm.
like I said from the beginning, like I repressed it so much that I like hidden myself against myself. Like I didn't even know. I just repressed it so much. I was like, I was too scared to even touch it because if I did, I knew it would just explode and then it would be out of my control and it would be too overwhelming because at that time, like, as a kid, you're a helpless kid, you're still living under your parents' roof and like the threat of being kicked out or being abandoned, being a kid, you don't have any agency or any control or any like ways to, self-sustain. So, that whole unpacking all of that only took courage only recently because I was like, when I gotten to a point in my like financial life that I was like relatively stable and
Mm,
relatively
mm,
independent,
mhm.
but I'm still relying on my parents, but it's just like, it's that, delicate balance.
Of course. How does it make you feel? I know sometimes in the community now, or I think in society, labels can be controversial. How does it make you feel that you maybe can now relate or attach yourself to certain labels? Like, do you like that? Did that make you feel less of a like black sheep or other, or what do you
Yeah, I
feel about
think
that?
labels are like also another like double-edged sword. So obviously it's helping in the beginning to like at least put me, even though I don't like being put in a box, but I felt like, okay, I can put this label on and then like I can feel like I belong to like that community. So then I feel
Mm,
like I'm not just other all the time. And then I have to put myself in my own community. I mean, that's why it inspired me to start my own page so I can create my own uh, community so I don't have to like subscribe to the already pre-subscribed labels. I can
mm,
create my
mhm.
own new unique identity or labels that other people might relate to, and then build that community. So then there's more diversity and then more inclusiveness, and then obviously more diversity helps everybody. So then they can also use this label to as like a stepping stone to feel like, okay, I'm not just always just this other whatever amorphous label. Like if you don't feel like you're just floating with like no purpose or something, or with no support, basically. So I think labels are important to a certain extent, but not to get so hyperfixated or codependent on them or like use it to other people, right? It's like a
Right, right.
double-edged thing. Like, so just not to go too extreme to the point like you're being the enemy that you hate the most, right?
Mm, mm. Okay. Wow, that's really wonderful. I feel like I'm in transition of what you're discussing because I feel like I'm in a position where my everything's up in the air for me. How I express myself, how my identity shifts. I recently shifted from most of my life I've been very femme and, growing up with societal constructs or internalized homophobia to now being more playful and feeling safe, particularly with a group of people to explore my expression. And it's very challenging.
Yeah, at first it's really challenging because you're not used to it. You're just so used to your mask, and it's hard to like remove your mask or try to even be aware like what part of that mask begins and when it ends, and then where you actually begin and end, and
Mm.
how to separate those two. Like going through that self discovery journey takes a lot of time. Like Rome isn't built in one day, so it's the same
Right.
thing with like deconditioning and deep what I call it deprogramming and reprogramming your whole system and your whole way of expressing your identity in showing up in the world. Like that's why I also challenged myself to start this page, because I was afraid to be seen like most of us queer Asians, because
Mm.
we lose a lot. Like we have a special unique struggle where like, oh, we have kind of like status and power if we, conform or like have high middle class incomes. Like I'm not one of them. I'm working class. Like I'm not naturally good at math or science. Like I have to study super hard for that. I'm like the super alt, super hippie version of the from Asian. So like within that aspect, that's why I never also related to other Asian Americans. Can like I still feel other, even though, we're both Asian Americans, like my strengths and weaknesses
Mm.
are not aligning to the stereotype or the majority of Asian Americans, at least that I grew up with. I think in general, like most are overachieving. Get your degree, get that job, get married, have kids, and then, repeat and rinse. And then have your grandparents help, take care of the children.
You didn't have that.
Well, my mom had my grandma helped raise me, so yeah. So
Okay.
basically repeat that cycle.
I had a question for this
Mhm.
might be a challenging one, but in because what you shared maybe in still seeking community or seeking resonance with maybe people who align with how you are or how you express yourself or your views or values. How do you cope with, how did you cope all that time with feeling maybe othered. I think, a lot of people struggle with this and the effects of that or the consequences come out in various ways. And so, but you seem like, you have made the choice to make the change for yourself so that, and it, like you said, it takes a lot of courage and I commend you for that. All of this stuff is very hard. Even being in therapy, it's very challenging to like face yourself, right? And not want to be the barrier, like you said, of yourself. And so how do you navigate that? I don't know if this is too broad of a question, but do you understand what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
asking?
overall, the main thing was it was done out of survival. So it's kind of hard because my upbringing is really complex. So I was
Mm,
forced to grow really quickly and mature fast and be
mm,
self-aware because it required me to do that in order to survive every day.
mm,
So like a little like short background, I moved around a lot as a kid, so I never had like a stable community period all my life. So that's all I knew. So that was already my base, my like default. So I
I
never
see.
felt like that was something, I guess, challenging. Like it was just like, okay, this is
Ah,
was like a natural thing, like, okay, this is what it is, this is my reality, this is every day, like it's like breathing and drinking water and eating food to me. Like it's like, okay, I'm going to be moving and then I'm going to lose all these people and then I gotta, you know find new friends and then
mm,
be able to, read, people's expressions. And then because my mom's a typical helicopter tire mom. So, like, anything you do, there's no conversation. It's just a lecture. And then it's always arguments. So then I just got really good at, I guess, arguing or just like being very good at debating because I had to be because just to survive every day, just to get through the day without feeling like, utter complete shit, even though I still felt like utter complete shit, but like
I
it
hear
was
you.
just like, okay, it's a normal day for me. Like, okay, I'm gonna be doing this, and then every time my mom talks to me, this is going to happen, XYZ,
Mm,
do XYZ, and then, move on. And then
mm,
like it became a skill development basically out
mm,
of survival. So like from moving around a lot and then having to make new friends, I had to get good at talking, get good at like knowing psychology. So I didn't know that I knew psychology before I knew the vocabulary for psychology. I didn't know that was like,
um,
that field. But like basically what I was learning through experience and through survival was psychology skills, like reading body language, trying to predict what people want, and basically people pleasing my way to survive every day. And then
mm,
my parents, divorced when I was like in middle school. So like social environment, in every environment, nowhere was safe. So that was a norm for me. So whether it was like, I don't have like a advice really or like a quick answer for this. It's like a skill you just have to develop. It either way, people are gonna hate you because, X, Y, and Z, because I couldn't relate to people my age because I had to grow up a lot of faster than other people. And then I had to deal with family environment that others most didn't have to deal with. So I was like, I might as well just be myself. Like, either way, I'm suffering, so I might as well suffer as being myself. So, being
I hear you.
a
No, that's
rebel,
that's allowed, but
like,
like,
in my own way and in my own limits. Obviously, I can't fully unmask. Like, like I said, you know, it took me 35, I'm 35 years old. It took me like 30 years to, like, really, like, explore, like, oh, I'm queer and neurodivergent, all this other stuff, right? But mostly, besides that, like I was as true to my identity that I could be within those limits during that time. Like I tried to express myself authentically despite how hard it is. And because I knew either way, I'm going to be shit on, so might as well just do it. And I have nothing to lose. Basically, I was at my like rock bottom like all the
Mm,
time. So it's like
I
there's
hear
nothing
you.
left to lose. So I guess my own advice is like just imagine you're just already rock bottom. There's nothing to lose by being you. Like, if you do lose those people, they weren't meant to be in your life
Right.
and they were just lessons, and then just treat them as lessons. Like, you don't have to hate them, like, because everybody has a purpose in your life, whether you like it or not, and whether it was super painful or not. I just choose it as a lesson and choose it as something that is view it as a learning moment. Everything is for your own growth, and I think if you kind of reframe it that way, it makes it less painful and more bearable to continue to keep being brave, to be yourself despite, I guess the punishments or whatever that you receive from outside, whether you're accepted or not.
That's that's really tough, but you sound very resilient. I have to say, unfortunately, in the way that we have to be resilient. I resonate a lot. I think, yeah, I'm sorry you felt that way most of your life and you feel othered, but in trying to expand myself within communities and dynamics and like you said, reconstructing, recalibrating everything, I find that, you know, the the more open we are and receptive, then the right people will gravitate. I was wondering if because you mentioned knowing psychology before the term, or are you in a field that relates to this, or is this just kind of like how you
Oh
navigate
no,
life and your
I
career is
like
different?
double majored in psychology and Japanese, but it's a useless piece of paper at the moment. But I mean, I'm in a transition like most people. Like, not everybody is lucky to just start their own business without having multiple side jobs or still doing
Mm,
a 9 to 5. So I'm working at the movie theaters to like keep being able to pay my bills, but that's just a stepping stone. That's just like until I can fully transition to do this like full time. So I want to be my own business owner because that's the only way to control, like, to be completely free in my expression and to be authentically me without, to be like fully unmasked as me is by being a business owner, because that's where you can control the way you present content, the way you present yourself and your brand, and then just, and also be able to control how you make your money, so you don't have to report to somebody else and be like, oh, you're too much, like you need to, tone down your queerness, your neurodivergent, your whatever XYZ trait that makes you you and makes you uniquely you. Like, I'm at a point where like I can no longer work for somebody else because at some point it will clash, and then I can't be my true self, and then I can't reach the people that I want to reach because I'll be limited by society, and society's programmed like it is, as you know, to be patriarchal, straight, and neurodivergent, ableist, and all the S that are out there, all the isms, all the racism, and then all the like labels that are other, basically,
do you
are
think
added.
you sometimes I feel like maybe I still hold on to hope because without it, where are we? Do you think, in the ways of like the workplace that those changes aren't being made, or is it too maybe slow for the pace that you feel like you're at, like where you said you're kind of at your threshold where it's like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm in a very transitional place as well because I couldn't stand, the lack of flexibility, the lack of control in my workplace specifically, and we spend so much time at work, right? But I find that when I look for jobs, I feel like they are more inclusive nowadays, or you think that's all kind of a facade in the sense of saying it, but in practice, it's not really
I
there
think it's
yet.
both, but mostly a facade to, like, I guess, get the numbers, the whatever,
Yeah.
because of the laws require like diversity, whatever, etc., etc. We are whatever organization, and we are, have trainings for these things because they're required to have trainings. But I also think there's progress. It's just like you said, it's not fast enough for me and it's not like big enough for what I have like envisioned. Like it's just too slow and
Okay,
I don't
okay.
have control over that. And then I just feel like because it's so slow, everybody's just like, oh no, we should slow down and then slow down. It's like that crab bucket effect. So like one crab wants to like pull the other crab down once they see them like rising up. So then it's just this whole group think thing is just it pisses me off the most. That's like my number one pet peeve. It's just when you're in a big organization, whether you like it or not, it's just there's going to be groupthink and there's going to be people that will pull you down. It's just the way the system currently is. That's the flaws of the current system.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get rid of that system is create your own system or rip apart the current system, which is a lot harder to do. Like that's too much politics, that's too much a lot of things. There's a lot of red tape, a lot of hidden tape that we don't know, and I'm not powerful enough to do that. And in order to be powerful and influence, have enough influence, is to create my own business. And it's not because I want to like make money for money's sakes. Like that's the whole point of making that money is to be able to influence those things and to increase that speed that where others want to reduce that speed. You can only do so much when you work for other people and you're still limited. Like, yes, I agree that it is very hopeful and it's getting better. It's just really still too slow for me
Okay,
personally.
if
And
you
that's not
want or
my
you're willing, what do you envision? What does it look like when you get to more closer to the point you want to be at, like for your business? Like what? Tell me about that if you want.
so short version, we'll
Short
just
version.
say. So the main goal is to be a global influence where like not only in the US, I don't want it just to be US, but especially in the Asian countries, like I
Mm,
think also Asian countries would benefit with that. So it's like this cultural exchange kind of thing. And then especially in Asian countries, like the stigma for like mental health and then also being queer and then also all these identity things that are outside the norms. Like it's super repressed, especially in China, especially since you have to use a VPN to be able to access all sites in China. And it's like a whole like even more red tape there.
mm.
When it comes to like queer stuff, like I know on Red Note, when people were like going from TikTok refugees going to like Red Note, I saw like it's still very like um repressed and stuff. So I want to be able to like also liberate the actual Asians in Asia along with everybody else in the world. So it's not just like America. Like I want to basically my end goal is to make everybody safe enough to pursue their authentic self to the highest degree and to pursue their dream life being their authentic self unapologetically.
Oh,
So it's
that's
like
what
a
I
huge
seek to
thing.
achieve too.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But you're doing it
But especially the
through
queer Asian community, that's like my super niche, but like obviously everybody is it's included. It's inclusive, but obviously I need to choose kind of a niche to like kind of move it forward easier and then eventually obviously anybody who's afraid of being their authentic self, but I want to empower those people to be able to be their authentic self and to uh achieve the dream life that they want, whatever that may be, and help guide them too. So basically be a life coach to them if they want my services that way, or just create that community where that can thrive, like that the safety to be able to pursue that basically is the ultimate end goal.